Hey, thank you for coming to my show. I think you'll hear something today that makes you click that like button, share with your people, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Let's stay connected. Tell me what you think in the comments. Hello, thank you for joining us here at Our Unseen Roots. I'm Lionel, your founder and your host. Tonight I have with me Mrs. Delores Holmes. Hello, Mrs. Holmes. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Great, great. So, the way I like to start my show, my very first question is, who are you?
Oh, wow. Who am I? Well, I am a daughter. I'm a wife. I was a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a friend, an advocate, an activist. I've worn many, many hats over my 87 years. So I am a community person. I am a caring, loving, sharing person. That's who I am.
You're also a visionary. So one of my guests, Miss Joanne, Miss Joanne said, "Yeah, she's found me, and I was working. I can't remember where she said she was working for, but she said you need to come work for me over at Family Focus." She said, how much are they paying you over at that job? Well, they're paying me about $12. Well, I'll pay you $15. She's not left since.
She's the only person that's still there of my original staff. I'm always so impressed. I tell her, Joanne, you're really holding down the fort. But, yeah, she was, Joanne was, it was obvious to me about her commitment and her dedication to really serving our community and our children. And she bought right into the vision of what we were trying to do at Family Focus. And so I stole her from YOU. I think that was in 81 or something.
Yeah. What unique perspective did you bring to your work due to your identity as a Black woman?
Well, I've been Black all my life, and my family, my mom and my dad taught me how to be Black and to accept and to be really comfortable in who I am as a Black woman, and recognizing and acknowledging the kind of deficits that was in our community that I wanted to help fill. And I watched my mom and my dad growing up doing volunteer work, giving back to the community. So I've always given back to the community. And I didn't know sort of where I wanted to go with it. I was working, I got my bachelor's, I got my master's in education. I thought I wanted to be a teacher, got in the classroom, knew that wasn't for me. Had an opportunity through Head Start to really serve the community, and was mentored by Edna Summers and Val Summers at that time in terms of really, and Janet, I'm trying to think of her last name. Husband was a professor at Northwestern. I'll come to him in a few minutes. But anyway, the work that was happening at Head Start, that I really loved, parent involvement, getting the community engaged, and helping parents understand that we are all our children's first teachers, good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't matter. We are the first teachers, and how important that is, and how that was lacking in our community, our Black community, of really helping especially young parents understand that, and understanding the commitment that you have to make when your children are young, and planning a foundation for them. And so that was where I really began to find my place in what I wanted to do. And so I started working with Head Start. I think it was in maybe 69 or 70. And I left, when I left Head Start, I was working here in Evanston, and I went to work for the county. And then I left the county in 76 when I left and started with Bernice Weisford Family Focus.
Yeah, that's a long time doing hard work.
Oh yeah, it's hard work. It is hard work, but it's good work.
Yeah,
it's good work. It's almost like you say good trouble. So it's good work. No, it's good work because you begin to see the impact that you can have on families. And I see kids and families now that I had back in the 70s, 80s, 90s who still say, what a good experience it was for them at Family Focus. And so I'm very proud of that.
What are some critical needs you see within the Black community that women are uniquely positioned to address?
Well, we're always, I say we strive to survive as Black women in terms of making sure that, number one, usually it's to make sure that our families have maybe what we didn't have, to prove upon what we did have. And so that goes from whether it's making sure that the education system is answering what we need and what our kids need, to housing, better situations, learning how to work with the government, learning how to deal with your representatives, such as your alder people who represent you, not being afraid to stand up and speak out for what you know is needed in your community and to fight for that.
What are some innovative projects or initiatives led by Black women that inspire you today?
Oh, wow. Well, of course, just after listening to the Democratic convention, I am thoroughly inspired. I wish that my health was better so I could really get out there and do some work. Listening to VP Harris and where she's coming from. But not only that, but there are other Black women who are doing good work. Stacey Adams down in Georgia, has been doing stuff out in California, and people with the Black Lives Matter, starting those kind of initiatives that is telling us, step up, women, step up, my people, and take your rightful places. That is what we have to do.
Yeah. As a Black woman, what is your greatest superpower?
Oh, wow. Being Black. Just being Black and loving it. Yeah. Standing in it tall. Celebrating it in every way that I can.
Yeah. What resources do you wish were more readily available to Black women who wanted to make a difference?
Well, opportunities for businesses, small businesses. We have really creative young people who could start businesses and, create generational wealth for themselves and that kind of stuff, if there were really opportunities to do that. And that's not always available. The resources are just not there. And sometimes the resources are there, but resources are no good if you don't know how to use them, or to make use of them, or how to reach them, how to make them work for you. And so there's a lot of education that we have to do for our young people to show them how to get through the system. So sometimes the resources are there, but they're not utilized because we don't know how to utilize them. Yeah. Or we don't think they're for us.
Yeah. How do you think that we can better find these resources? I know that the resources are there, but sometimes we don't know where to go find them.
And that's what I'm saying. We have to educate folk to understand how those resources work and where they are, and what do they mean. Because sometimes they come up under another title. So you have to get involved with government. You have to get involved with the business community to know what's available out there. And You just have to become pushy and ask for stuff. Stand up and, ask questions. And we don't often do that. We sort of think, no, that's not for me. I don't know what that means. I was really impressed this past year reading the information about the participatory budgeting workshops and things that they did that helped people understand that this money was there. And we got people involved with trying to distribute it and make sure that it worked for them. That was a resource that was right out there in the open. But yeah, it was like pulling teeth to get people to apply and come up with ideas and to suggest things that, that could be done. I love, I'm not going to think of the name of it, that Cradle to Career. There's those small grants to help people push their ideas out there.
Yeah.
Start, building on that. That's a resource that's there, and they do it every year.
Yeah.
How many people take advantage of it?
Yeah, that's very true. I was fortunate to find it, take advantage of it, and got a great start from Evanston Cradles to Career. That's being ran by none other than Kimberly Holmes Ross.
Right.
Your daughter. And how does that make you feel? I mean, your daughter's contributing to the community left and right, and it's almost like looking in the mirror, I would assume, at a younger you.
Well, it is, but I always say to whom much is given, much is expected. And she grew up too, knowing that you have to give back.
Yeah.
And so it's wonderful to see her, do her work.
Yeah.
In her way. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. She's doing some great work, and people aren't taking notice of it. People don't notice it. And I think in time they will, because of the things that she's doing and the people that she's touching as she's working,
Absolutely.
How can Black men in the community be better allies and partners to the women nourishing the Black community?
Number one, not be threatened by Black women. I know we're strong, but we raise Black men. We're mothers to Black men. And I always say, if you just treat whatever Black woman you come in contact with like your mom or your sister, you'd be better off. I think that if we could become more in a partnership with them, rather than sometimes it's like competition, that you don't have to dominate me to benefit from what I have to offer. That I think is really important. So understanding that we want the best for all of our people, male or female. It's not one way, but we need the partnership of Black men to not only be supportive, but encouraging and working beside us.
Yeah. How can we also assure that the work we do will be slow, deep, and irreversible?
Well, I mean, nothing is promised, but we plant well. I'm gonna say plant. Maybe we sow, and we water, and God will provide the growth of it. And that is where the deep roots come from. That kind of grow, because we can't make it grow, but we can sow it and we can take care of it. But the growth comes from God.
What are some of your hopes and dreams for the Black community, and how do you see yourself being a part of it?
Well, my days before me now are much shorter than those that have gone on past at 87. But I just dream that we really learn how to love ourselves as Black people, to respect ourselves, and to build our community, knowing that our brothers and our sisters, whoever they are, our neighbors, that we just have to love one another and help one another to achieve whatever. If I achieve something, I need to reach back to bring somebody with me. That's so important. And we don't often do that. I remember my grandmother used to talk about Black people as being like crabs. You one won't crawl out of the basket because you pull the other one back down. Well, we don't need to do that. We need to help keep pushing them out so that they can grow and develop. So I hope that a dream is that one day we will do that automatically. Just reach back and pull someone else with us for whatever we're accomplishing.
Are there some initiatives or some things that you've implemented that are still around today? Because I know that you're retired now. Most of the work like you said, most of the work you've done is before you.
Mhm.
Are there some things that you've done that are still around today that makes you really proud?
Well, I'm still proud of Family Focus and all of the things I did accomplish. I really am. I think that's really important because we used to every day say to kids, we had a ritual that we did. We go out and every morning we would start with, I am somebody. I am somebody and I have the brains to be somebody. That kind of encouragement with each other. And I hear young people now will see me and say, yeah, I still remember how we did that. And I still remember you told us how we needed to do a bank account. We needed to do that. So those kinds of skills that you give kids early, they hold on to them. So I'm very proud of that work that I did with that. I'm very proud of organizations that I've worked with where the mural over on Meals on Wheels. Sometimes you forget what you do, but in 1968, it was called Meals at Home. And we worked to establish that and got that started. And I think here it is now, 2024. I had really not forgotten it, but it was in the back of my head. It wasn't one of the things that you just think about automatically that you're a part of. But I'm very proud of that. And that when they dedicated that mural to me and Hecky and Miss Fitzsimmons, and I forget the other lady's name right now, but that told me that, okay, that was a good thing because who knew it was going to last this long? But we knew it was needed, because seniors needed food delivered to them and taken to them if you're ill and old and you're handicapped or whatever, you can't get around. So I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of the work that I did as an older person, making people realize that as a Fifth Ward, we're here. I don't think people were paying much attention to us. And, we put up signs and said where we were so that people would recognize us. We stood up and we demanded a voice for our community. And so I'm very proud of the work that I did on the council.
Yeah, if you don't mind me saying, you were a beast. You were a beast, and in a good way. You were a beast. I mean, and what I love about it is your name needs to stay in the forefront of people's mouths and minds, because I think little girls, you are a great example for little girls in our community, what they can do, what they can be, how to carry yourself, and I mean, even to this day, you say your name and people smile, people get happy, people get excited, and it's based on who you are as a woman, as a leader, as a teacher, I commend you.
Well, thank you. But I think that I stand on the shoulders of so many other women, beginning with my own mother. But like I mentioned at the Summers, I think about Eddie Lee Sutton. I think about Mary Hunter. People that Lorraine Morton, people that I learned from, and how to not only how to give back, but how to walk in certain shoes in certain places. I'm the same everywhere I go. I don't change. We know how as I said, to thrive and survive.
Yeah.
And we have to do that. And so I learned from great women in this community who did that every day, to make sure that we were heard, make sure that things got done. And so I'm happy that if I am an example or a model for someone else, then I've done my job.
Yeah. And it brings me to my next question. Who are some of your role models?
Well, I just named off some of them.
Yeah.
In terms of, I wish I could think of Janet's name, but she was a director at Head Start. God, her husband James, they did the first sit-in at Northwestern. I just can't think of her last name.
It's not Janet Alexander.
Oh no, Janet Alexander Davis. I know. No,
Yeah.
no, this was oh wow, Professor James. I can think of the husband's name.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, I worked on had a very good relationship with the Black House and the students at Northwestern that came and worked it back. I did a podcast with Delores Bell and
Evanston Rules.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, I did a podcast with them, and this young man sent them a note. He heard it, and he was a student of mine back in the late 80s and early 90s. But he was a student at Northwestern. He was a football player, and he used to volunteer at Family Focus. And we formed a really great relationship. And he called me on last week. I hadn't talked to him in years, but it was so wonderful to hear him talk about his experience that it had, when he was here in Evanston, and what that meant to him. And so things like that, are really important to me, in terms of hearing from people whose lives you've touched. That makes a big difference. And so not only like the ladies that I mentioned as role models for me, there are other young people that I see now that are doing things. Robin Rule is a good role model for me as an older person. My own daughter, Kimberly, is a good role model for me, that I have worked with. Joanne, wonderful. People that are younger, you learn from them as well. So you're not only teaching, you're learning as you go. Every day, you learn something new and different. And that makes a difference in terms of who you are as a person.
Yeah, so true. Every day is a day for growth.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. What does liberation look like for Black women?
I want to say freedom, but freedom in a way that, not just the word, but free to be who you are as a Black woman. You have to, a lot of times we have to put on the veil to make it through certain situations. But freedom is not having to do that, just to be who you are and to be accepted as who you are as a person. That is what freedom would be, and liberation. Mm-hmm.
What are some of the lessons that you are still teaching your grandsons and granddaughter?
Well, hopefully my grandsons are learning how to treat women. That's what I want them to be able to treat every woman like they treat me and their mom.
Yeah.
And my granddaughters, I had two of them. I just want them to be strong, Black, committed women who know who they are and who stand in where they stand. You have to be able to stand up for yourself and be able to speak up for yourself and to say, how you feel without trying to make other people happy. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And be committed and dedicated to whatever it is you're going to do. Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Holmes, what keeps you busy today?
Well, because my health hasn't been great, I can't do as much, but I do whatever a little bit that I can. I still work with my sorority. I work with my church. I love the Foster Senior Club. So I'm just doing little volunteer things that I can do. I am also working with the Moran Center and the Peace Builders. And so we've been doing some family circles that I have really enjoyed, getting people to tell their stories. So I've really enjoyed that. So those are the kinds of things I've been doing lately when my health allows.
I was going to say, the only thing slowing you down is that health, huh?
That's it.
Yeah, it's such a dedication. Well, Mrs. Holmes, I want to thank you for your time.
More than welcome.
This has been wonderful, and I will see you soon. I will see you in places again, and I'm glad I was able to get this time to talk to you.
Well, I am too, and I don't know if you know about this coming Saturday, but it's called Praise in the Park.
At Mason Park.
At Twigs Park.
Oh, Twigs Park. Okay.
Twigs Park from noon until 5.
Okay.
And I still work a little bit with Evanston on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're sponsoring it. And I'm going to go and do a couple of hours of just to sit at the table and pass out stuff.
Okay.
That's as much as I can do. But I'm going to do that. So things like that I still try to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, thank you again, Mrs. Holmes. I appreciate your time, and it was great talking to you.
You too, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
All right. You take care.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, let's stay connected.